Okay, I just want to quickly talk about your Hollywood attack. First point. It's very poor. You guys failed to adapt to the comp they're running, and um, the way you play is a bit sus. It's not. It's quite embarrassing how you guys play it, to be honest. And what you need to realize is you don't want to be running goats against a comp. As soon as you saw what they were running, you need to swap to the comp that I'm about to suggest. Um, you don't want to be running dive for obvious reasons. So let's analyze their composition first before I move on. So no matter what you do with goats, if you rotate to cafe through security, they can just go high ground, and by then they're gonna have Junkrat. They might have Sombra, and they're gonna be playing around the Ana, and Orisa makes it a lot easier to shoot Reinhardt's barrier. So and when we see the Sombra here, we can assume with the paired with the Ana, we can assume they're looking to hack the D.Va primarily. So Mighty Boy can get that nade off easier. But they could also be running it for just for the EMP. But I think it could be both. But there is one composition and one play style that completely annihilates this. So let's talk about that. Let's go to Stat Banana. It's a Pharah Hanzo composition. And the objective of this comp is to break shield. Right? No matter what they do, their Orisa shield is going to burst first. Because we have Pharah, we have a Hanzo, we have a Zenyatta, and we have an Orisa as well. What do they have? They only have a Junkrat, and they only have an Orisa to pressure our shield, right? So under no circumstances can I see our Orisa shield breaking first. Sombra can't really shield break. It's not her priority. They don't have they have a Brig, so that's no range damage. She's pretty much useless right now. So you want to be breaking shield. That's your priority right now with this comp. So you have Pharah positioned. Let's turn on the roofs, right? So she can be playing aggressive because they have no McCree. So you can, whoever the Pharah player is, can play pretty aggressive above roof, I take angles and shoot over shield. Put pressure on their backline a little bit, as well as switching between the shield. Just turn the roofs off. That's the role of Pharah. The Hanzo is just complete shield break, right? No ifs or buts. Shield break. Orisa's shield goes here. Same thing. D.Va is used to contest high ground if needed. So if Sombra contests Zen, D.Va can push her out. And Zen's really good for discording the Orisa when the shield does break. So Hanzo can get a headshot on, or our Pharah player can do a lot of damage. So once their shield goes down, Hanzo we can just keep pressing forward pretty much. You don't want to be like right here. You do want to be playing shield break from about here, because they're not going to be as effective. Their D.Va's not going to be as effective, and their Brig is not going to be as effective, and their Ana's not going to be as effective. Because if you shield up here, right, their Ana can play aggressive for like a second and throw a nade across. So this completely shuts down this comp. A popular alteration of what they're running is McCree. How do we tackle that? McCree Soldier, same thing. So how do you tackle this? It's the same process. However, you just got to be mindful that Pharah needs to be pressuring shield a little bit more, because they do have a bit of range damage as well. But when they do, very rarely do you see McCree being run in Cafe. Really good teams would actually have, they would, if they knew that we're running Hanzo Farah, they would just play they would just play in the open. Because McCree can just disable space from Farah. So Farah can't really go aggressive because they get a McCree, as he's pretty safe where he is. So what can a Farah do to get a better position? Well, first, the priorities should not change. You can play roof here and take cover and prioritize shield still. You can play poke far. You can from distance. Heck, you can be over here with decent height and you can still shoot shield. No issues with that. I just think that what you could be doing is you can rotate left side instead. Maybe poke a couple times here. You might want to go around bins. And then you put pressure from this side. And then you can also put pressure this side. Because as long as the Mercy is with the Pharah, McCree shouldn't be able to duel her for long. If McCree gets 2 headshots, then that's his good McCree. Maybe that's poor map usage from Pharah. But theoretically, like, this should be a perfectly fine situation for Pharah to be on her own with Mercy. If they just have a McCree and no Zen. As soon as McCree dies, we can play hyper aggressive, and Mercy wants to be with the tanks. Because most of the damage is coming this way towards our tanks now, and we need a bit more resources into our tanks to make sure that we successfully push it in, while Farah's just raining hell from the back. Sure, the Ana might turn around, the Ana might be playing Cafe, the Ana might be playing a bit more passive, and that might be a little bit risky, but if that's the case, then Mercy can just fly to and from. No issues with that. And with this comp, like, what could a Sombra, if they, since they do run a Sombra, like, what can a Sombra do against this comp? Like, hack a Zen, but there's no follow-up. They can't hack it, like, there's no value out of hacking a Hanzo. And Orisa can just harden herself. Mercy, she might get more value hacking Pharah out of the sky. That's a very possible chance, but then that completely um, goes against what they're trying to do, which is hack D.Va. So even if they hack D.Va on high ground here, like the nade's just going to get the D.Va, it's not really going to get much. And even if D.Va holds behind shield, like the shield's just going to stop the nade. The only reason why nade is very, 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 very strong against the goats, or how you boys played, is you went Cafe, they went high ground, and their Sombra was Cafe still or something. So the distance for the Junkrat, like you guys were split as, so your run was like here, someone was over here, someone was over here. So then they'd hit a couple of people after an AMP, and Junkrat was able to do a lot more damage that way. So this comp, you're completely neutralizing the Orisa shield. You're completely neutralizing their win condition, which is the Ana. And it makes it a lot harder. And also Sombra. Like, Sombra's not going to get much value out of her hacks that way. You neutralize the Brig. So, just a suggestion. Thanks for listening.